What up YouTube, my name is Marvin and today I'm going to show you how I change my bass strings. I'm changing the strings here on my Ibanez K5. I've had these strings for about a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. It's been too long, needs a new change. Anywho, let's get right to it. You will need a pack of strings. I like to use DR Neon, they're just my favorite. Also, I'm going to be using this Frine fret polisher. I like to polish my frets so they get nice and shiny and clean, and it just overall just makes playing more enjoyable. I'm also going to be using this Dunlop 02 fretboard conditioner. It just helps your fretboard when it's really dry, especially since I haven't changed and done anything to it in a while. You're also going to need a string winder. It's just going to make things a little bit easier. Something to cut your strings with. Some paper, which you'd use when you're conditioning your fretboard. You're going to need something to balance your guitar on. I like using the Music Nomad Cube. None of the stuff that I'm showing here is sponsored in any way. These are just things I like to use. I'm not only changing my strings, I'm also going to be doing a little bit of work on my fretboard. If you want to see just the string change, please skip ahead. To start, you're going to be detuning the strings. I like to start detuning from the highest string to the lowest string. So grab your string winder and you're going to go from the highest to the lowest. For some reason, I just like to do it like this. I rather relieve the tension on the smaller strings and work up to the big strings, if that makes sense. So that's just the way that I do it. Once you got all your strings loosened, you can simply pull up and take the strings out of the string socket hole. Just pull right up and it should come out very easily. You may also want to take a microfiber cloth just so that you can clean the bass when you're changing the strings and get some of that dust that's going to be inevitable in between the corners. At this point, I'm going to rotate the tuner so that the line faces horizontally compared to the rest of the bass. I do this so that the strings have a nice anchor point when they're holding themselves onto the tuner. So when you turn the tuners as you're attaching the strings, they're going to hold on very easily. Now you're going to feed your strings out of your bridge. Be careful with the strings, especially the low B if you have a 5-string, and sometimes even the low E. They're really thick and they can be kind of hard to get out. It might also be easier to cut the ends so that they just come out nice and clean. You don't have to do this, but I find it easier for most of the strings. With the strings off on the bass, I'm going to start cleaning a little bit. I'm going to be using my microfiber cloth, my Frine polishing kit, and the Dunlop 02 fretboard conditioner. But first, I'm going to wipe down the bass just to get some dust off because it is filthy. You don't need to be aggressive with this. There's a different way to go through a deep cleaning if that's what you want to do, but I'm not doing that because that's mad work. So we're just going to do this really quick. It's not necessary to do this every time you change strings, but I figure to get as much done as I can while I'm taking the strings off. So I'm going to be using this Frine fret polishing kit. It comes with everything you need. You get the little rag that you use to clean or to polish, and you also get these tools that help to separate the frets from the fretboard, and you got the actual polish cream stuff that you're going to use. So you simply find the one that fits for the size of your frets. Once you find that, you apply a little dab of the cream onto the cleaning cloth and you polish it. It makes a world of a difference. When you see the grime and the dirt come off those frets, I promise you, you will do this every time you change your strings. You will love the way that your bass or guitar looks. If you end up with some of the polishing cream ending up on your fretboard, don't fret. Get it? Don't fret. It's very easy to clean off, and you're still going to end up cleaning the fretboard later on when we start using the O2 conditioner. So don't worry about it. Here's an example of how the frets look. As you can see, the clean ones look really nice and shiny, and the dirty ones look absolutely disgusting. And you wouldn't have noticed that until you actually clean the frets. This is just due to moisture, you playing, and just, things need to be cleaned overall. But I hope you can really see the difference. I'm telling you, when you see it in person, you're going to be like, oh my god, I need to clean my frets on all my guitars. You're going to want to do it. Take your time, do it slow. There's no reason to rush. You have 24 frets to get through. Well, I do at least. But it's a lot of frets. Don't worry about it. Just take your time, try and enjoy it. Think about your life. Think about all the new things you're going to be able to play with your nice fresh strings and your new clean frets and your nice moisturized fretboard or whatever it is you want to think about. But yeah, take your time and you will see a marked difference. Now that my frets are clean, I'm going to be applying the Dunlop O2 conditioner. This is just to refresh the fretboard because it tends to get dry. Do not use this O2 conditioner on a fretboard that is finished. Do not do it. It says it on the bottle. I'm just telling you, do not do it. It's typically used on rosewood or something like ebony. I don't remember the type of wood that's on my base. I'll find it and I'll write it in the description. And then once you're ready to apply it, you simply shake it, flip it upside down, and you rub it onto the fretboard. You'll see the oil start doing its work. The fretboard will typically get a little bit darker and it'll just look refreshed and clean and nice. Once you've finished applying the oil, grab the paper towel. I like to fold my paper towel so it's just a little easier and more concise. And what you're going to do, in a way you're going to be polishing the fretboard, but it's more of just cleaning up the excess oil and making sure that it gets rubbed into every nook and cranny on your fretboard. This is also the opportunity you're going to have to clean up any of the rest of that polishing cream that you might have seen left over. Sometimes it gets under the frets, and I find it easier to clean off when I'm conditioning my fretboard because you're also getting the oil where it needs to be and you're getting the cream out where it doesn't need to be. As you're letting the rest of that dry, you can start taking out your strings. I like to work from the largest string to the smallest strings. So that's the 5th string to the 1st string. I don't know why, that's just how I've always tuned my instruments. I start big and I go small. I start with the large one and I end with the small one. I do the same thing with guitars. I don't know why, I just like to do it like this. So you're going to take your strings out of the packaging and you're going to start at the bridge. Simply take the strings out. You're going to have a ball end and a cut wire end, and you're going to take the wire end and feed it through the hole in the bridge. You may have to play with the B string a little bit because of its thickness, so don't be afraid to just move some of the parts around. Don't be rough, don't break your bridge, don't break the string, but you're going to have to move it around to try and get it through, depending on your bridge configuration. And as you can see, I'm clearly struggling. I need more practice changing bass strings. But nonetheless, just try to get it through. Make sure the ball end comes completely through the bridge. Do not let it hang out at all, because then you'll get a lot of tuning stability issues. Head to the headstock of the guitar, and you're going to feed it through the appropriate nut slot. The way that I approach cutting the string to the proper length is that I measure the string according to the next tuner higher up. So I pull the string, and the tuner that's next to the one that I'm going to be attaching the string to, I cut it to that tuner's length. For some reason, this always ends up being a really good length for the string. After you cut the string, insert the string into the tuner, and you're going to bend it inwards. You can also look at the nut. The string should be passing straight through the nut. They shouldn't be at any hard angles or anything, which is exactly why here I'm stringing it from the inside of the tuner, not from the outside. Once it's strung up, check your bridge and make sure that the ball end is still completely through. Sometimes it can slip back out. Make sure that everything looks good, and after that, then proceed with the rest of the strings. Follow the same steps, being careful again to make sure that the ball end goes completely through the bridge. Be careful at this point and make sure that you know exactly which string is going to be cut to which appropriate length. You don't want to take the wrong string and cut it at the wrong length and not have enough string to actually tune it up, because that causes problems and it's going to be really annoying to try and fix. Once you finish changing the strings, inspect all of your work, check your fretboard, check the bridge, check the tuners, and make sure that everything looks good. Again, I can't stress enough to check the ball end of the strings, make sure it's completely through. Once everything looks good, you're going to tune the bass to pitch, and you also need to pull on the strings to stretch the strings out a little bit, then tune it again. Stretch it out a little again, and then tune it again. This is going to help the strings to get their desired elasticity so that they actually hold their tuning. And that's it. Then your strings are all set and you're ready to rock. If you have any questions or comments on this video, please leave it in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like this content. Take care, stay safe, and have a great day.